Hello everyone, GameGoddessFee here. We are back with more Ace Attorney. I have Terminator.
Hello.
Hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday. Yeah, so I'm enjoying my day off and my weekend. So, hey Game Queen 8 and 1, how's it going? We're gonna make this quick for you. Yeah, so I guess we could get started.
We're gonna be here for 5 hours.
All right, Ace Attorney, Justice for All, Episode 4, Farewell My Turnabout, Part 2-2, Trial. Happy Veterans Day! I almost forgot to say that, look.
They give us a day off even though us high school people are veterans too.
What, veteran of what?
Veteran of the school. If
Whatever.
you ain't a freshman, you should not be able to go to school.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, whatever, dude. Anyway, let's go. Ten minutes later, y'all. March 22nd, 2:14 p.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 3.
Dude. Oh my god, dude, I can't believe that Adrian. No way. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at the dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time.
She been drugged him too.
See? She could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your Hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up. And, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corda.
Who?
Juan. But why? I thought she was buzzed with Juan.
Joanna Man, huh?
Joanna Man. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. You'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of the day. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude?
Phoenix. You think her motive is related to Celeste's Impax's missing suicide note, right?
Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Mrs. Impax's as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it.
Is Juan Corda the victim of this murder?
And that's why I think Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corda. All to get the suicide note back.
That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me.
What?
Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impax?
It was Edgeworth.
It looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. March 22nd, 2:25 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please.
The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by the court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Corridor's room.
You skipped the word.
What?
She still got that card in her hand.
What is your occupation?
I am the manager of the defendant, in this case, Mr. Matt Ungard. I see. Now then, before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yes, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land. Really do.
If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim.
Yes, I was saying, Mr. Corridor. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry in the bait matter, or what? Or was that bait in the fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him.
No one is accusing you of that.
I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews?
Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place.
Witness testimony when I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room, and there was his body, his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
That was good.
You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes, sadly. I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime, and not disturb the crime scene by moving this one thing.
And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix. She is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match.
Yes, I know.
In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing.
Disrupt her pacing?
She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand?
All right, let's get it.
Cross-examination when I found the body. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room.
And what was Mr. Ungard doing at the time?
He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his many performances as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony.
Mr. Ungard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes?
Excuse me? It? What are you?
Right. I thought years of school would have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Ungard's knife from his room?
No.
Subject, verb, object, right. Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue.
After that, I went to Juan's room.
And why did you do that?
As a friendly gesture, one was to make an appearance with the other heroes.
So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? Can't live dolphins? Is that the only reason?
I beg your pardon? What are you implying?
You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim?
Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at that time.
I can't get her to talk without a strong piece of evidence, I guess. May we continue now? Witness, what did you see when you got to his room?
And that was his dead body. I was in shock.
You were in shock?
What? Was I not supposed to be?
Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corridor. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. And you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not.
I see. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo.
This is the photo you're referring to, correct?
Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest.
And the guitar case was like this too?
Yes, it was open and empty, of course.
And then what did you do next, witness?
I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice.
Juice?
Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself.
But you didn't drink out of any of it, did you?
Huh?
There were no lip marks left on the wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it.
I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it.
Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corridor, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct?
And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time.
Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you.
Weren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake, that one thing.
What one thing?
Never mind. It's no big deal.
What was she starting to say just now?
You know Phoenix wanted out of her.
What you say? Miss Andrews! I'm convinced that as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime scene photo? This piece of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case.
Why did you withhold such an important piece of information?
I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the disaster. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case.
What kind of flower vase was it?
I see a contradiction.
What's it?
Huh?
What is it?
If the case was open, why is it on the bottom of the case?
I see, I get you.
It was a glass face, and it was fairly big and heavy. I had to take one's pulse. So I set the glass I was holding down on the dresser, and that's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase.
That's odd. I thought she was always in total control of herself.
That's what she would like people to think. Hold on, this thing trip. Is YouTube okay?
Yeah, I did see it like flashing orange.
It was orange. This was orange.
Yeah.
Always be mindful of the gap between your perception and reality.
It doesn't sound like there's any glaring contradictions in her testimony just now.
I warned you earlier that she would not crack so easily. The only way to make her is to
keep on the offensive and not let up.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Game Queen 81. I don't know what's going on with it tonight. I did test it before I went on stream. The only way you're going to catch her is with some very strong, decisive evidence.
I have to find something. I just have to. For Maya's sake.
It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room.
We already ran this. You guys do this.
He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as the Nickel Samurai during the ceremony.
You sleeping that? What kind of drunk? Right, so you're stupid and you're a poopy head. That's basically everything. Every time he objects, that's what he says.
So that was all these statements?
Yeah.
Okay. That was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene.
No, she didn't. Go back to that last statement. Wait, what's in the crime scene photo?
She was saying that she saw the knife stuck out of his chest.
Oh, okay.
And I'm saying, since the vase was open, how the vase become open? I mean, the guitar case become open if she didn't knock the glass over the water was on the other side of the guitar case.
Oh, I get you.
I wonder, is that part of the contradiction? What should I press her on?
I mean, present. I already pressed it up.
I mean, not press present.
I guess either this or the guitar.
No guitar?
Yeah, this is right there.
Okay.
Wait, the top was closed, right?
It was open.
Yeah, but on the crime scene photo, it was closed.
What ain't?
I mean, open. It's closed in our court record right here. But on the crime scene photo, it was open.
Yeah, that's the contradiction.
And presented. No, she flipping right there. She flipping over there.
Right here?
No, the other one.
What I saw was naturally the exact same scene. So we'll present the crime scene photo then.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness gracious to life.
Present the attorney's badge.
I don't know if it's a guitar case or...
Flip a coin. Flip a coin. I'm Two-Face, y'all. Yeah. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct?
Yes.
And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case?
Is there some problem with what I said?
It's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell into the guitar case. However, if that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside.
You know, I was thinking about what Phoenix was talking about.
I'm lost.
What you mean?
I forgot what this is. What's going on?
That's very true.
Furthermore, there's one other strange thing about the guitar case.
And what is that?
Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor.
And what is wrong with that?
If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass short should be inside, not outside the case. What is your point, right? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No. Think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. No.
Yes, that's right. She did implicitly. What's that? How you
implicitly?
I can't
implicitly.
Say it. Implicitly.
That's a shame.
I know the meaning. I just don't know how to pronounce the word. Jesus. Implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case.
But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The Price Red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be, however, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, doesn't it?
It seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Make her testify.
You bet. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either.
All right, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. Witness testimony, the guitar case. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
You know.
It looks like this really wasn't a very important point.
This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man.
Why he always talking about Phoenix like that?
Good.
Cross-examination, the guitar case. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. Oop. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed.
During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind?
Well, you see.
Are you sure you're the only one who opened the guitar case?
She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not.
Sounds like her dependent side is taking over.
Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over.
So, you opened the guitar case then?
Yes, well, maybe.
Why did you open the guitar case?
Huh?
Miss Carter's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think that the first thing you would do is call for help, not open the guitar case. As the witness has said multiple times, when she found the dead body, she was dazed.
Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was alright or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it.
Why would she care about the bright red guitar?
But getting back on topic, it's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all.
Was it really empty?
Hmm?
I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you would just pay attention.
Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright.
Sorry.
As for why I opened the case, even I don't know.
Was that because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body?
Yes, that's probably it.
I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess I should give it a try.
Come on, Phoenix. We can't afford to let up on her. Now,
I wasn't planning on letting up, but...
she's at her weakest now, so this is our chance.
yeah, if we had a weapon to hit her with.
I'm sure a weapon is hiding somewhere in the court record, waiting to be found.
Alright, Mia, you hold her down. I'm gonna hit her with the toy case.
Really?
I think... wait, go to the toy case.
It bears Corrida's fingerprints.
If it was empty, why would Corrida want to open it?
What you mean?
Wait, did he open it on the day of the thing?
I don't know.
There's a contradiction somewhere.
I don't use that yet.
That's me. That's what I look like in the morning.
I suppose I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over.
Wait, it don't got her fingerprints on it.
On this statement here.
Yeah, it don't got her fingerprints on it. Ooh. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case.
Why would you say that?
It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim.
What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case.
What do you mean?
What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony. So of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of the thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime.
Wait, go over to the court record. I'm pretty sure we got some with her fingerprints on it.
Let me see. Oh, that glass.
Yeah! You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange?
Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? She just stuck her own grave, did she?
You got the attorney's badge. I have your proof right here. This wine glass.
The wine glass.
You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass.
Oh,
Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice. Wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? The glasses, bro. You got another friend.
Order, order, order. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time.
What do you mean?
I believe that guitar... I can't say guitar.
Guitar?
I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here.
But it's just an empty case.
I wonder if it really was empty, though.
But the guitar, the bright red guitar, was at the studio.
Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar.
You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either.
I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case...
Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided... No, Your Honor, please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it was wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I am sure the guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, right, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder.
Can you do that, Mr. Wright?
Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case.
The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black...
So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that it, right? I won't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? I don't know.
It's probably something in one.
Wait. Why would Adrian want to get in the case?
Why would she want to get in the case?
Yeah.
Look, I don't know.
Alright. Her mentor died, right? And they couldn't find her suicide note. And Dwan was the one who found it.
Found what?
The suicide victim.
You saying one?
I don't know. I think you should. I don't know if this is where they're going with the story yet.
Hold on. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Hold on. I can bring so one was it one
Okay,
opened
I think
it.
I was going right. Wait, no. One opened it.
Yeah, one opened it. Let me see. What's this? No, ain't nothing. What's inside the case? Wrapper of good water.
I forgot. I forgot.
Photo of one Corliss murder scene. With the costume?
Wait, you might be right. The costume. Yeah, it was the costume. How'd she get out? How'd she get the costume?
She put it in there?
What? No, she got it out of there.
Yeah. Somebody must have put it in there instead of putting the she put it in there at the studio. She swapped it out with the guitar and put the extra costume in there.
Makes sense. Good job. Good job.
So is it the photo or I guess it's the photo.
It could be either one, but let's go. We lost.
This is a photograph.
Yes, but what's important is what's in the picture, Your Honor.
In this picture?
It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... Inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What?
Mr. Wright, explain yourself.
Right. Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct?
You mean this photo? Order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another disaster again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well,
you know my strategy. Speak first, think later.
So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Onguard's. Why would something of the defendants be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places.
True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare costume.
I guess. Mr. Onguard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What?
Then are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. We're in the red.
And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It was mean that the victim himself had brought this spare costume to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Korida, was the Jammin' Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
And therein lies the sticking point.
She put it in there. She put it in there.
What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, and just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with just so I believe in you.
But me, I don't know. Alright, this is what I think.
The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Seems like the Nickel Samurai... No. That's just a ticket.
No, wait, what is it? But the Nickel Samurai could wait, and Matt didn't know about it.
Right. You think that's why he was gonna put the Nickel Samurai on?
He's gonna spit it out and then say some stupid junk on a stupid press conference.
So you think this is it?
Yup.
Okay, we're gonna trust Plum, you all.
I lost.
What is this?
On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at the conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up right. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ongord himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
But how can that be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Carter himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Carter was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. What this got to do with murder?
He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing?
That's something I don't quite know yet, however. What am I... Oh my god. What I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at the conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Carter, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ongord.
Yes, I guess that is what it would mean.
But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure.
Miss Andrews, I can see why you are pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one who he asked to help us set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You. One had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He was going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow one had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed.
What?
And do you know what the secret of Mr. Ongord's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only one knew. I don't know what it is. Oh, I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all.
Protect Mr. Ongord?
And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, could you please tell us the truth about your behavior? Yes, Your Honor, I understand. She done sat here and made all this up.
Yep.
Witness testimony, protected and Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was murdered. Was the murderer. Matt had to kill one, no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. I don't know what she just said. It does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. If the defense can find no fault with this testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down.
Cross-examination protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer.
Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you?
Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things.
3 things?
A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix.
They didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember.
May I continue now?
I don't think Phoenix went to law school. I think he failed it.
Matt had to kill one, no matter what.
So would you say this need came from the press conference?
Yes, do you know why one chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that was when he could cause the most damage to public's beloved Matt Ungord. And you knew of this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume.
But I'm sure Mr. Ungord himself didn't know anything about the press conference.
Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference?
Anyway, the important thing here is that the information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony, if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right.
Has Mr. Ungord done something to hurt or betray you personally?
Why do you ask?
You were the one who helped Mr. Corridor's press conference. And that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Ungord, yet you helped out!
You still helped out.
Yes, sir. The person on trial right now is Mr. Ungord, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with his plan, it's none of your concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep getting up and going in this courtroom?
He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder.
But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Ungord was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a fib so you could cover for Mr. Ungord?
I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews has said. You incompetent, Judge. I can't say the same for some people here in this courtroom, however.
The judge is glaring straight at Mia.
He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the bullet and the knife.
You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage.
Then what about the button?
The button?
It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jamming Ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's kama. Isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony.
I can't stand this sight of a man who can gracefully accept his defeat.
Thank goodness Mia can still look at me.
With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. The button was torn off at once during his fight with Matt.
And how do you know that?
When the ends of the dress on the buttons and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit together perfectly, or so I heard.
I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail?
Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not.
Ugh, I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what?
Uh-oh. So I felt that I had to protect him. I didn't even.
As I expected, I skipped the question again. I skipped it because I mean, it's really easy to do that, but man, it's just one button.
I thought that was the end of the testimony. That last statement. Is this the one I didn't press on?
Yeah.
But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him.
But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Ongard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Carter planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Ongard as much damage as she possibly could. The witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax philosophical owl power hour.
Power hour.
Please stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seemed pretty solid. I said Andrews.
Really? Because to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy.
Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more.
You should know this by now, but you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk.
Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews.
I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Let's see. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. Let's see.
Was there a fight?
A fight?
Like, I mean, you were strangled.
That thing on around his neck.
What does autopsy say?
I think it said it was he was strangled.
What?
The button was torn off with one during his fight with Matt.
There was no fight because he was strangled and he was gonna like...
So on this statement, I should present the crime scene photo.
No, the autopsy.
Ooh.
This is the victim's autopsy report. This clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf.
Strangulation?
The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died.
And what does that mean?
Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume when After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly, which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight.
Oh.
That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously ripped off. Oh my god. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body.
Order, order. What is the meaning?
What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this off from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it?
Wanted to have a memento. He was like the Predator, alright?
Really?
In and out, and then grab their skull.
To being the crime on unguard?
Yep. There is only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. OnGuard. There's no way anyone will put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. OnGuard was set up! By the real killer, of course!
And the real murderer is? Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real killer then? Uh-oh.
Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point.
Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end.
The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. OnGuard is me! I did it! Lock me up!
Really? Really? I think it was Pearl.
Yeah, I think it was Pearl, bro. Like, look at her. She kidnapped Maya. She did all this. Mr. Nick, you wasn't being friendly with Miss Maya. Yeah,
Think
no.
it's her.
It's Samus.
It's Samus.
It's Samus.
It's Shamus.
Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you! You are Mr. Carter's killer!
Alright, what's the dude's name? I choose you.
I choose you. Pikachu, let's go!
Ash. That's who I'm trying to think of.
Ash Ketchum.
Yes.
Pokemon Flop.
What? Order, order, order. Mr. Wright, this is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews.
How? Preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me.
I can't, can I? Would you care to test me?
Then what about this knife?
The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. OnGuard naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints can only be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you! Put my glove back on.
Then, what about the button that was found in that Hakama?
This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found the body or the killer. However, if Mr. OnGuard was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such an incriminating evidence in his own Hakama.
Oh.
The only person who could have put this button into Mr. OnGuard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews.
You the one said she put the costume in there.
That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just a costume inside the guitar case? It could have only been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews.
No,
But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprint on the glass to show that yes indeed, she was the classic Days discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there is this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Ongord. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not?
Please stop.
Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time.
Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify.
What was that?
There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination. That's your boy.
What you mean? That's my boy. Get out somewhere.
By allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think of to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ongord's room.
I forgot her voice.
You forgot her voice?
Adrian Andrews. Yes. Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? All right.
That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad.
You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't done.
Something I haven't done? What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? Phoenix just put a whole mountain.
What is so humorous, Mr. Edward?
I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corda. Think said all that.
Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corda? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it will be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it in either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence.
No! She's taking that defiant attitude again. But Mia, what should we do?
Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation.
It's your fault, Mia.
I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify. And the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid, definitive proof.
But that's not true!
In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter. And at tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then Maya.
But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth, what are you...
It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Yes, that is very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews.
Hmm?
When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice.
Yes, and?
I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice.
So my actions were unusual, but I've already...
Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect.
Testify?
Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we found out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness.
I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know.
Boris, divorced.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. The witness testimony when I found the body. The glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that state. And he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind.
Cap.
To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. So I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
You see a man stabbed in the chest.
That's the whole story.
You see a man stabbed. You're like, oh, he ain't dead. Plus juice.
So you poured that glass of juice for the victim? Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, there's nothing left.
I know. Edgeworth, what is going on in that brain of yours?
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination when I found the body. That glass of juice, it didn't really pour it for myself.
But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right?
Of course not.
Then who did you pour it for?
Mr. Wright, there is a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you?
In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen.
Precisely, I couldn't have said it better myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that state. Oop. Saw it in that state.
So, it was a disaster? Are you sure it wasn't like that because of your fight with Mr. Corda? I understand your frustrations in not being able to prove your theory, however, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then, what did you see next, witness?
In one, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. So you see the blood.
Slumped over?
Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping.
Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd?
With all that blood hanging off of
don't even press it right here. Don't even press him. Don't just get the stupid prison out. Just get it out.
On this statement?
Yep.
When I saw him sitting like that, she thought that the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind.
Just get it out, man.
That photo.
Get it out.
That knife sticking out his chest and stuff.
He's just chilling. Alright? He's just chilling. Okay. That's how I see it.
On this statement.
Yup. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him?
No, not at all.
Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body?
What is the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Carter's chest! Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought there was a dead man!
That's, well, you see...
I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink.
Your point is?
Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant fib! And your fib has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer!
It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to the light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Ungor, is not guilty after all. That's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. I promise he's the one who killed Juan.
But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself.
That's because, Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Ungard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated.
Is it over? Have we found the truth at last?
What's wrong, Phoenix?
Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. Now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't.
Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Ungard.
Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it will be premature to pass down a verdict at this time.
What?
The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth.
That's absolute real truth? What are you...
Witness, didn't you understand yet? I mean, don't you understand yet,
Hmm?
man? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head. But as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Onguard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party.
That's a fib. I don't believe you.
What?
I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over and Matt would never be declared guilty.
What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it?
I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francisca Van Karma.
Huh?
Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself, then
right now, Miss Andrews is...
Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Van Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Unquan will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging onto them.
Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get her not guilty. That's my only priority.
It wasn't me, I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill one. Help, please. Someone, help me. Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor?
The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do.
What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now. What do you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Maya, let's go. Let's get Maya.
Press not guilty verdict.
Put her in jail. Put her in jail. Not guilty.
They can't force her to testify, can they?
Yeah, they can. Yes, they can.
Force Andrews.
If you do that, you get a bad ending.
You press not guilty verdict. If we say force Andrews to testify,
the case goes on, but you sacrifice something. But not sacrificing.
request not guilty verdict.
What?
Request not guilty verdict.
You trying to get a bad ending? What you doing?
Or force Andrews to testify?
Yes.
What she gonna she ain't gonna testify.
Yes, she will. That's what you stated. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding.
Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing?
Sure, Mr. Encore would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want the trial to end?
Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense theory is true. You're wrong.
What a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However,
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court.
Stop. Mr. Edward?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness.
What?
And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past.
Stop. Please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here.
Why Phoenix didn't do that?
Because he promised. Interesting though. That's the second part of the suicide report. What Game Queen A1 say?
Huh?
What Game Queen A1 say? Okay.
What you gonna do?
Wait, what the Game Queen A1 say? I can't read it.
What?
What the Game Queen A1 say in the chat? I can't read it.
My goodness.
My goodness. Okay, that's it. That's all right. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report.
Very good.
I just want you to read it. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? Oh, now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world.
Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll...
If you're going to say you would choose death, that is no concern to me. Actually, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still-breathing lips. No matter what I have to do.
You heard.
So will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. That right is messed up.
I'll talk, but please help me.
That's right messed up.
Nothing matters anymore. Witness testimony, my crime. Edgeworth is rootless. Yes, he is. Watch before you die. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. And she goes pivot again. As I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai's costume. Stab the body with the knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person, a certain cowardly man? What do you mean by all of this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth.
The real killer is Matt, that scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time.
Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim 1/4 in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt on guard for the murder. And this is her crime. That's messed up, man. What? How's this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Miss Wright? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. Cross-examination, my crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest.
But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say you did not know he was dead?
He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is a part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I wouldn't see his face. I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan.
Where's this plan you had?
I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop one and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt.
So the forged pieces of evidence with a knife in the button.
The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room.
That was so you could get the knife, correct? Why did I read it like that?
The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed one's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button.
So you were the one that stabbed the victim with the knife.
It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing to do. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed one's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect.
So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ongord's Hakama?
Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience.
An inconvenience?
There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway.
I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta.
There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth.
That's Miss Oldbag for you.
I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using this Nickel Samurai's costume.
You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you?
Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into one's guitar case the day before the award ceremony.
You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct?
Yes, one wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to expose Matt's big secret there. And what is this secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought if I were to leave one's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Ongord's room and planted the button. Into Matt's Hakama, yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. But my word, what does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ongord. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor set me down for a talk.
Francisca, huh?
She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawfully. However, As long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer.
Wait, Your Honor. The defense still... Right. Huh? It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a simple piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so it's today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright.
But...
Mr. Edward, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange to her detention immediately.
That's all. Court is adjourned for today. What about the verdict? He said he was not guilty. What happened to the judge?
He left.
We got a bad verdict.
Now it's recess. You know what happened? He said 1 day for Maya.
Today's trial is over. And
I didn't win an acquittal!
That was you.
Yes. Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Huh? Edgeworth?
What is it?
Before you leave court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The cord in your hand. It had my interest for quite some time now.
What
exactly is it?
That's you.
Why you read my lines? Get up somewhere.
I always do that because when they show the person, I start reading.
Dude.
Oh, this. Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright, I remembered just now I found this in the room on that day.
The room? That day?
Yes. I found this card when I discovered one's body. It was lying there right next to him.
You found that card? Next to the victim's body?
I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to one's murder, right?
Yeah, I guess not. But still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as I clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness! That card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? I can't believe you hid this from me all this time!
I didn't mean to. What is this all about?
I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? Well, Maya did. Maya did.
How long is the recess?
No, he put the card on put it on like you say we stopping court proceedings for today. That's what the judge did.
Hold on, what he say?
He said they stopped court. They gotta come back tomorrow, and the dude wanted it to be 1 day.
I know that.
So what is you questioning?
Just made me lose my train of thought.
Okay, whatever.
I know the obvious.
You say? Why did judge leave?
Nah, I was trying to get at something else. You done made me forget what I was trying to get at.
Whatever.
Anyway, I know the obvious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You wondering why Maya finna die?
That's all right. Nah, I wasn't trying to get at that.
Okay.
I had something else in mind, but you done made me forget. Going over what's already obvious.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway.
Edgeworth's messed up, bro. Edgeworth's messed up.
Really? I wonder what this card about. But anyway, I appreciate you all for watching. And yes, you're watching and you liking what you see. If you don't mind hitting the subscribe button. Also, if you don't mind hitting the like button for me as well. I appreciate it. And you all have a good night. Thank you, Game Queen 81, and thank you for chatting. All right, everyone else, thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Good night.